dun, dun, dun. Hello, shalom, 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 l'chaim. My beautiful friends, welcome back. Glad you made it. This is a so production. We're doing it on, what is it? It's October the 4th, 2024. All over the place today because daddy's been running around. That's what it is. It's another so production. It is another Glad You Made It episode. If you're tuning in, if it's your first time, buckle up, buckle down. Where can you find these videos? On Instagram, follow me there. Subscribe on the YouTube channel. Check out patreon.com/Rob Sancho if you'd like to fiscally, financially support the show. Shalom, once again. L'chaim to everybody. Matzah. Hope everybody's doing well. Wherever you're tuning in from, it is Friday. If you're tuning in from Canada, hello Wagwan. Down south in the United States, as per usual. Further down south, Mexico, South America, over there in Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, New Zealand, Papua New Guinea, Caribbean Islands, Jamaica. You're making me happy. It's Friday. It's Friday, and lots of things to discuss. Lots and lots of things to discuss, and we'll get right into it. But wherever you're tuning in, once again, let's just get into it. I hope you're loose as your mother's vag, because she didn't opt for that C-section, fam. Loose vag. Hope your dad's happy with it. Probably is, because I think they sew it back up, like tight, like the time it came out of the box. Tight once again for your paps. Go in there and get that tight, firm puss. You gotta give birth in order to be able to feel I don't know what I'm talking about. I think it loosens. I think sometimes it might rip. It's sensitive. It opens up quite a bit, but it does sometimes rip. But then they sew it back up. I think they numb you with num juice, and then they sew it back up nice and tight. So loose as your mother's vag if she's given birth to you via the canals. Tight as your mother's vag if she opted for that C-section. I'm all over the place today. We're gonna keep it, of course, loose as a goose. Just start off with some personal experiences that I've just been, going through, dealing with little things, nothing major. Just had sometimes I will go out there and grab a little breakfast from McD's. And my go-to breakfast option is bacon, egg, and cheese McMuffin. Thank you very much. I like the bacon. I like them big. Oh, so good with cheese and eggs in the morning and bacon. You can't go wrong with that. But yesterday, or maybe it was yesterday. Yeah, went to my McDonald's, ordered my coffee with my, again, bacon, egg, and cheese McMuffin. Wait there. I got number 533 because now they do the thing. Your number comes up on it. You gotta select I go to the little little robot that's just taking the order. I put in the order, it prints out my receipt. 533 is my number. I'm looking at the screen now, waiting for my order to be served. Wait a little while. A few people are ahead of me. They get their orders, and I hear 533. I approach the bench, Your Honor, and it hands me the coffee, hands me the little package with my food in it. As I'm about to walk away, I did notice there was because they put the sticker number on your little baggie, right? And your coffee as well. I noticed it says 132 on my coffee. I'm like, I'm not 130. You said 533. It says on my receipt on 5. So I turn around immediately. I'm about to return, and I see this guy sees my coffee with his number on it. He reaches and grabs the coffee while I'm still holding on to it. And meanwhile, I'm trying to reaffirm with the cashier, with the beautiful McD waitress, if you will. It seems like you're giving me the rope, but this guy he goes and grabs the coffee. Now I'm grabbing my coffee, which I believe is mine. Maybe I'm just thinking to myself, maybe it's the right coffee, wrong sticker. But this man sees 132. I mean, he's 132. He's grabbing it. I've grabbed the bottom half of it. He's grabbed the top half. And he's pulling. I don't even know what's going on right now. I'm still gripping because I don't want it to fall or anything, but he's gripping and he's pulling. I'm gripping and I'm just kind of holding on. I'm like, wait a second, sir. Let's figure it out. Maybe it's just a wrong sticker kind of situation. You never know. But he grabbed it and I'm just like, all right, you can have this one. Fine. I'll wait for my coffee. It came in a little bit aggro. Let's just wait till we settle this is all I wanted to do. Is it the wrong sticker? Maybe because that happens. I don't know, maybe your coffee's coming up now. You grabbed it and he was pulling it. Hold on, I'll give it to you if it's you. I don't want your coffee, I want mine. Maybe you're not even getting coffee. Maybe you're getting, maybe, I don't know what your weird, I don't want your weird order, dude. Don't go there making assumptions like, this guy's got my cup. I don't know what you order. Maybe you got like a double. Maybe you got like that like fucking vegan milk shit in your coffee. I don't want that shit. Maybe there's no coffee in it. Maybe it's just like some weak tea for weak men. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want that shit. Black coffee sometimes with a splash of just 1 milk. This guy. He grabbed it, he's pulling it. I'm like, all right, have it, fine. I had to wait for another coffee. They make my coffee. I got my little bag with my food inside. I walk away. I tend to, sometimes I'll get the ketchup packets, but sometimes if I'm about to like sit down for 5 minutes, like a civil human being, sit down for 5 minutes, enjoy breakfast to myself before I go out there and get the day started. Sometimes I'll like to go to the station of the condiments and pump a little bit of, I get one of those little tiny cups and I fill it with ketchup and I open up my little McMuffin and I pour the little ketchup all over it, just because your boy's a ketchup boy, likes that shit. Put ketchup on everything, dude. Hot dogs, spaghetti, hamburgers, you name it, my arm. I'll put ketchup on my own nip and I'll lick it off. You know what? I'll put ketchup on my own belly button. I'll put ketchup on anything. But that's what I do. But I go sit down for 5 minutes. I wanted to just enjoy my breakfast because you gotta have a little bit of downtime. 5 minutes of downtime before you go get there and get the day going. I open up the little package and there was a wrong food inside. I think I got this guy's order, man. But it says 533 because again, they stick the sticker on the package. And I walked away with it. I'm like, well, I'm not the type that goes back and says you gave me the wrong. I'm not that guy. There's too much waste of time. I'm not gonna be up there waiting another 5-10 minutes. No, thank you. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. We're just gonna have whatever this guy was having now. I'll have what he's having. I open it up, I open the wrapper, and I knew it. I felt the way he went in and grabbed the cup, he just making assumptions and shit. I knew it. I got an instinct feel. I got this feel. I'm like, oh, let's see what this fella ordered. He got himself a blueberry pancake with two little pancakes, blueberry, with a strip of chicken. With a strip of chicken in the middle, nothing else. So I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, okay, fair enough, there's protein in there. I'm not too excited about the blueberry muffin / pancake. I want my English muffin. I want that baby wrapped with, but it's all right. So but now I've also, I've put the ketchup in the little container and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna waste my ketchup because I'm not that type of fellow. So I went ahead and sat down. There were people around too, and I'm now going to pour ketchup on the blueberry muffin / pancake and then plaster it on top of the chicken sandwich and start eating. And I'm just like, nobody cares, nobody notices or anything, but I'm like, I gotta now commit to this. This is, because if anybody walks in and sees somebody, blueberry muffin / pancake, you put ketchup on it and there's like chicken in the middle, people might ask questions, but not if you commit to it. Not as I sat there confidently. I'm like, all right, I want to eat this. Eat it like you've been eating it for like your entire life. That's my go-to shit. That's how blueberry muffin and chicken and ketchup in the morning. That's what I sat to, and I smiled and I chewed. I cleaned around my mouth like I normally do when I eat. And weird order, man, but I'm just saying, the way the guy just grabbed my coffee and like, let this beautiful waitress settle this dispute here. Grabbing the cup, pull in. Because what if I pulled back? Because we don't know. All I'm saying is there was a little bit of tug of war. We're gonna let it go this time, of course, and I did get the wrong order, not on anybody this time. Maybe there's a little bit of discrepancy in terms of the workers, and there's a lot of orders. I'm not pointing blame at anyone. It was a disgusting order, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was because it was chicken, blueberry, and ketchup, essentially. Those are the flavors you're getting. And you'd think that on their own, individually, give me, ketchup all day, every day. Give me, I'll drink chicken juice, for 3 hours straight. I will eat blueberries right off a blueberry, tree or bush. But, mix them together a little bit sus, little bit, not gonna judge you, fella, but also judging you, totally judging, because you have so many beautiful, delicious options. Bacon, eggs, just bacon, just eggs, just cheese. You went with blueberry muffin and chicken. judging you harshly, but you're a good fellow. You're a good person. I can tell. That's neither here or there. That was a little bit of just random events. And then this morning I woke up and I had the weirdest dream last night, or sometime between last night and this morning. I had a dream. A lot of and dreams are blurry. You don't ever know what you're getting. Just like letting you in on, there's a bunch of people. I was there. We were yip yapping, and then at one point there seemed to be off in the distance. We were all like, I was out there on the streets, and there was like a crew of people about to do some sort of work. I don't know what kind of work, but work. No, we were talking work. I don't know what that entails. That's aside the point. After a little while, I noticed there's like a little creature on the ground, kind of crawling, and it was kind of like raining. There's a puddle formation nearby. It was like a little creature that seemed to be like a little bit of light flickering, a little bit of mysterious fog coming in. I was just like, what is that? And everybody's like, what is that? And then it turned out, we thought in the dream collectively that it seemed like a baby, kind of baby in like, rags, covered in rags, trying to drink water out of the puddle. And it was a elderly gentleman walking by, and he was closer to the creature / baby. So we kind of like, me, and then collectively the dream people were like, yo, pick up the, help that baby or whatever, what is that? Have a peek. And the elderly gentleman went into kind of bend the knee and like pick up or like ask for, do you need some assistance or something? And then the baby creature kind of like, got up, and then it turned into not a baby, it turned into an alien, a gray alien. And everybody's freaking out, and we're like, holy shit, this thing's hovering, it's freaking, typical alien shit. But I've not, in the past, 24, 48 hours, I don't believe I've consumed any sort of alien imagery. So I don't know where that seeped into the subconscious mind there, but it was just like, thin neck, big head, gray, slender body, and it floated right in front of this beautiful elderly gentleman who was about to lend a hand. And then he puffed and he huffed and he huffed and he puffed, and then smoke came out, and then it's kind of like, not an explosion or anything, but some sort of something happened, and then he just disappeared. And everybody was just like, myself included, in the dream group, we were like, did you get that? Did you get that? Did you see that? We were all like, yeah, holy shit. And then we were wondering, did anybody catch that on camera? And everybody was, and it just occurred to me, and as I was dreaming, it wasn't a lucid dream, because it was sometimes that does happen. Sometimes whether you control it or not is, up to you. But it wasn't one of those. But I was aware. I was but at the same time, the thought reoccurred to me. I'm like, man, even if you do see an alien, a legit alien, nobody's gonna on your first. You don't go for the phone. You don't go for the first reaction. If you legit see an alien, it's pure. You're baffled. You don't know what to do, and that's what really happened in the dream. We were just like, did anybody catch it? Did anybody record it? And everybody's like, no, myself and the dream people. And we were just like looking around to see if there are any cameras that caught it. There were cameras around, but I don't know if they recorded. But that's, again, it's the dream situation, so it doesn't even matter. But then I thought to myself, if this beautiful alien creature had the power to kind of, make himself or herself or itself look like a baby drinking water out of a puddle, and then, got rid of his rags, and then, a little bit of smoke show, and then he disappears, or again, it disappears. Maybe it's got the power to like erase videos. So could you even record them? That's one of the things that I'm like, what if we get the cameras out? What if we do record them? What if they've got the power to erase the friggin' tapes? You know what I'm talking about? So that was just a little bit of interesting stuff that happened. Nothing, but what are your dreams? What have you been dreaming about lately? Any wet dreams out there? Any extra wet dreams? Leave a comment. Dry dreams. Shout out to my dry dreams. But that's just a little bit of, personal stuff that I was going through. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get right into it. It is October the 4th, I believe. I've been recently just reading a little bit, trying to catch myself up on what's going on, because you hear about it. It's like impacting our lives little by little. I'm intrigued by all the robots and the AI. And I've been reading articles, or article pops up, I'm reading it, it says, artificial intelligence now placed in robots that are becoming self-aware. And I'm like, so do we have self-aware robots? Do we not have self-aware robots? The proponent of this article, there's a company, there's a robotics manufacturing company. I forget the name right now, it doesn't matter. They're competing, there's a whole bunch of them. There's a whole ton of them. Trying to get these AIs in the robots. And one step at a time, we don't know, because some are saying, yes, we are self-aware. Some are saying, no, we're still not there. Some are saying we're, to some degree, we've got these self-aware robots. They're not self-aware, like conscious, sentient like us, but they are getting there. And I just want to know, do we or do we not? Do we or do we not Googles? Do we or do we not Boston Dynamics? Do we have self-aware robots for once and for all? Let me know if we've got them or not. Because that's the thing. The article said, and I read this article and it says it's no longer just a learning, language learning model or language learning machine. It's not just taking in input because it's put in a robot. Now it's got a body. Now it's kind of like deciding on its own terms, trying to, digest the information, come up with its own solutions and stuff. And I'm just like, oh, are these things self-aware? Do we want them self-aware? Do we want them, because you got people walking around sometimes. And you wonder, are all people self-aware? That's another question, because there is some debates going on about that as well. I remember reading about that a while ago. Some people call them philosophical zombies. People who are, you've seen some out there. You've seen some, not too many. You do see. We're getting better and better, of course, as the species, grows and evolves together. But you do sometimes encounter people who are just things are, there's sparks flying, there's things clicking, but on some level, it's, the hamster is running. It is on a wheel, but like at a much, much slower rate compared to the average person. They're out there. You know who I'm talking about. You might be one of them. Sometimes, we all might even dabble in that realm ourselves. You never know, because, you might be a little bit tired. You might be a little bit exhausted. You might be a little bit whatevs. But you know what I'm talking, just like self-aware humans. And everybody's got different varying degrees of self-awareness. Is it good to be self-aware? Is it not good to? Because too much self-awareness, you might be getting in your own way. They say getting in the way of your own tits. They might say that. So sometimes it's good to be not self-aware. But do we want these things to be do we want them to be sentient? Do we not want them to be? Do we even have any control over this shit? Once we start them off, once we've given them the bicycle with the training wheels. When do we know that they, do they tell us that they've kicked off the training wheels? Do they let us know? Do the producers and manufacturers let us know? Would they even know? These are really interesting thoughts, because I think about it, because I'm like, yes, we have 8 billion people, varying walks of life, different ideologies, thoughts, philosophies. Everybody's kind of like intermingling. We're getting better at it, of course, one step at a time. Human global community or something. And we're sharing this little bubble that floats in midair, which is cray-cray. But now, added to the addition, you got the self-aware robots. I don't want to, it's tricky situation. Would you want self-aware robots? Would you want that? And then how would they differ from us? Because their experiences, if they are self-aware, wouldn't be a human experience. They wouldn't be self-aware like us. They wouldn't. Even if they've got the bodies, they wouldn't, because they don't need the stuff that we need. They interact with the world, of course, but not the way we do. They wouldn't need water. They wouldn't need oxygen. They wouldn't need food. They might need other sources of, replenishing energy, like batteries and electricity and all that. But how do they interface with the world? How do they, what about emotions? What about thoughts and feelings? Would they feel pain? Would they feel empathy? Would they feel loss? Would they feel love, care, anything? Do we want them to feel those things? These are dogs. Because now it might be in a robot, and what do you do with it? Do we give it rights? How much rights do we give them? Or do we take away their rights? What do we do? Do we put them to work? Do we make them work all day, every day, and then us go out there, have them do the heavy lifting while we go out there and squeeze our tits and other stuff, other functional activities that people like? So what do we do with them? I'm just genuinely interested to know, because then I went online, I spoke to ChatGPT. I'm like, yo, ChatGPT, just give it to me straight, dog. Just lay it on me, fam. Just let me know, do we have self-aware robots or not? At first it's like, no, we don't. Then I'm like, well, I read this article. I was like, give me the article, I'll let you know. And I feed it the article and it says, no, it's not, and then it just came back and kind of reiterated what I was understanding, which was, they're not like self-aware like us. They are, on their way maybe to a certain degree, but they're taking the steps. To some degree, they are self-aware though. We've passed the Turing test. They can fool us into thinking they're humans. So what do we, what's the point that we say, okay, this is clearly a sentient, self-aware robot, and then what do we do with it? What do we do with these beautiful robots? Do we, do we feed them? Do we give them jobs? Do we hang out with them? Do we mate with them? Do we bring them into our worlds and let them interact with us? Do they just, walk around observing our behavior? Is that a good thing? Them letting, us letting, because that's the thing. There might be, if there are other creatures or, entities from other realms, that's a whole different, scenario that we might potentially have to deal with down the line. Who knows? But we are creating these things, and it's interesting. They will definitely be helpful. Like machinery and technology has been helpful in many ways for humanity. But in some sense, it is a little bit of something to think about. Do we want self-aware robots? Let me know what you think. Do you got one right now in your basement? Yeah, there's so many companies, Boston Dynamics, everybody. Elon's making robots, which is cool. I love them. Let's make robots. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying, what are we to do with this self-awareness issue? Do we, if they get too self-aware, can we do we sneak behind them and just take a little hammer to the back of the neck, kind of make them start drooling and slurring their words? Do we want, how does it come? Is there a point where we can unplug to a certain degree if they get too self-aware, so that they or if they already are self-aware, again, would they let us know if they are? Would they let us know? And what if they get more self-aware than us? Dun 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 shalom. That's what I'm saying. Interesting things to think about. But other interesting things to think about, ladies and gentlemen, of course, is would you prefer to fuck in a sauna, dun 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 shalom, or a freezer? Because there are different temperatures in and around the world. You just happen to think about it sometimes. You're like, yeah, which would I rather fuck in? A sauna or a freezer? A sauna is relaxing. I've been in a few saunas back in my day. It's been sometimes, it's been some time that I've been into one, but I've definitely dabbled in the sauna game, a little bit of schwitz, if you will. Go sit in there, just sweat the toxic chemicals out of your pores. Sit with the other gentlemen in the saunas. I don't think I've ever, have I been into a, just a mixed gender sauna sort of? No, I don't think so. The only, because back in the day when I used to go to the gyms and what, sometimes they had the saunas. You'd go there and there's always an elderly gentleman back there, pouring hot water on the stones, steam coming out, lifting a little bit of towel, showing you nutsack, and you're like, whoa, let's get more steam in this bad boy. Don't want to see it. He sits back down, man spreads 360. You're trying to make, small talk, but not too much small talk. Maybe keep it quiet. Maybe just keep staring forward. No eye contact in this sauna. No eye contact. But, good times. So it is, although I will say this, I just, you know what? I take it back. Did experience a, mixed gender sex sauna way back in the day, actually, when I was younger. Way back. When I was a wee man living with my folks. At one point for a few years, we used to live in a condo, and downstairs there was a pool and there was a little sauna situation. Oh, never mind. I'm just recollecting right now. You had the men's bathroom and the change room, and then you had the ladies. Late at night, I did one time where maybe on a couple of occasions did see a couple of elderly gentlemen sneak into the men's change room with their wives, spouses, gumas, girlfriends, mistress. They were there, and they went in there, and I didn't say anything. I didn't quite understand what was going on, but it was like, you're at that age where you're like, early teens, not knowing what's fully going on, but kind of knowing what's fully going on, but low key, wrap it up, but low key, she was, I don't even remember how old she was, you know, well into their 50s and 60s, you know, well versed in the sauna sex scene. They you know, so, you know, I left. I totally left. So yeah, that's no, I did, yeah, but I've not, you know, I've not, so I guess that was like, that was not a designated male, female sauna sitch. It was, you know, separated. They happened to be, you know, living their best lives and just fucking getting it on in the sauna. Maybe they were just sweating. Maybe they're just a hot couple in their 50s and 60s, just sweating it out, and no funny business went down, because I didn't take a peek. I did not take a peek. That time, it did not occur to me that I should perhaps take a peek or linger on a little bit longer in the change room to see if there are any extracurricular noises coming out that little sauna. I did not linger on. I was a gentleman. I left. But yes, regrets? No, no regrets for this guy. You know, the point is that yes, the sauna is welcoming. It is hot. It is beautiful. So there's that, but it is extremely hot in there. You do think that, like, because you might have even seen some, you know, videos, some perns out there doing pern in the saunas, which I always thought, you know, of course it makes sense. You're only covered with a towel. Some sit there just nude, and things could easily, you know, you could easily catch yourself opening up to a beautiful lady or man, whatever the case may be for you out there. You could definitely get it on the, you know, because there's barely any clothing, you're already sweating. There's a little bit of fog smoke situation going on, you know, vulnerable, you're sitting there and things are available. The thing is, you could definitely get it on. There is the danger of, you know, being overheated, because they do say don't stay in the sauna for like more than like 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15, 20 minutes, I don't know. Depending on the temp, of course. If it's just like, you know, if it's just a little bit above room temp, sit in there for an hour, no one cares. But if it's like one of those steaming hot saunas where they're like, you get in there, you know, 5 minutes, you're gonna lose half your colon. Those ones, you might want to just, you know, refrain from any sexual activities, unless you want to live on the wild side, baby. Unless you want to lose a little bit of that femur. But yeah, and then on the other side, on the other hand, you've got the freezer, because the freezer, you know, my experiences with freezers would have to go back to the days when I was, this was probably like mid-teens, one of my earlier jobs working at a grocery store. One of my least favorite places to actually go into was the freezer. You'd have to, like, you know, go and grab a few items, bring it to replenish the shelves, or, you know, go put something early in the morning. If you're opening up the store, there's a new shipment of produce coming in, you got to go and put them in the freezer in the van. The freezer was always like, oh, because it's like room temp in the rest of the store, a little bit colder than room temp to keep things fresh, but the freezers are freezing. And as a young man, I remember going in the freezer, I'm going to spend time, I don't even remember what kind of produce I put in there, but you spend quite a bit of time in there. And at one point it was like, you need to maybe bring in, you know, fingerless gloves to work this freezer. And I did, and I believe I did, because it was a bitch. But then come to think of it, would I rather fucking a freezer or a sauna? If we're not working, that's a different situation. I'm not looking forward to like walking in a freezer and like hanging out. It's not my, you know, it's not my go-to place. But if there's like fucking on the table, it does, I think you'd probably actually be able to fuck for longer in a freezer than a sauna. Because if anything, if you lose the clothing items, the body heat will probably actually, you know, keep you warm enough to be able to live and thrive for a good, I bet you'd be able to probably go longer in a freezer than you would in a sauna. If we were, I want people out there to not risk their lives, of course, but for the sake of the production, for the sake of keeping things real, if you have access to both a sauna and a freezer, try it out. Let me know how long you last fucking in both. Of course, don't hurt yourselves out there. Do record the times that you do get. I want to know if you've, you know, but I don't know how many of you guys would have access to large scale industrialized freezers. But spend a little bit of money, won't you? Open up your wallet, spend a little money. Sure, you could easily send the kids to college, but kids, college, plural, maybe one. Maybe let's, you know, if you've got a boy and a girl, maybe the girl goes to college, maybe the boy learns a trade, you get a freezer, walk in and do the sex and leave a comment. So that way it's, win-win-win for everyone instead of, oh, all my kids have got to go to college. It's like, you know what? Quit being selfish, okay? It's good for a man to learn a trade of sorts. And yeah, your daughter's probably going to do way better in college anyway. So buy a freezer because you got that money saved up. You're like, oh, what about I've always wanted a sports car. Freezer sex, dude. Freezer sex. Even if it's one time. I don't care if you're spending $15,000, $20,000. Nobody cares. You know what we do care about? The community and results. And being able to replicate which one. I bet you would not. Maybe you'd be able to like comfortably fuck in a sauna for like a day, but I bet you wouldn't be able to like fuck in a sauna 7 days a week. But I bet you could still go in a freezer, fuck every day of the week. Because again, it might be cold initially, but the body heat will keep you warm. If you have experience in either of those two circumstances, leave a comment. I guess the closest people that we could actually survey for this would be the people in Antarctica or in an igloo, the Eskimos. If you're an Eskimo watching this, leave a comment. And quit drilling holes in your igloo, man, because you're gonna, you know what you're doing. Keep drilling the holes in the igloo. It works. You got a system. I trust you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Shalom, Shabbat, L'chaim. It's interesting to think about different things, of course, and one of the different things that I was thinking about is all the time that we are, as men and women, as human beings, a lot of times we spend sitting on the can, sitting on the, royal throne, if you will, trying to drop a deuce. And I thought to myself how much time we've wasted having to, because you get the urge to take a shit, everybody does. You eat some food, a few hours goes by on a daily basis. You gotta at one point sit down, take a dump. What I enjoy about the process is, of course, relieving the body of the feces, of the doo-doo. What I don't enjoy about the shitting process is the having to wait for the asshole to open up for the shits to come out. I don't, if we were to micro manage the process a little, if you were to break it down, I would say it would have been great if you had the option to sit down immediately, have the asshole open up, have everything plummet to the bottom of the bowl, flush, wipe, out the door you go in a few minutes. But you spend at varying times, not too long, but you spend time waiting for the, you sit there, you relax, you tell yourself, okay, now is or you don't. It's like subconscious. You don't tell yourself to take a shit. Just sit there and kind of things happen. But what if I told you could tell yourself take a shit? Introducing the new and improved asshole dilator with these rings that I've produced. You could place them in your asshole, just right around it, not to go inside. Don't be tempted to go inside. All right, I know what you're thinking. Or do go inside later if you like, but don't go inside. This is not for that. All right, get your mind out of the gutter. This is just purely for sanitation purposes only. All right, you put this dilator just around your asshole. It will dilate your asshole so that the shits just fall out, and then take the ring out, walk out, wipe and wash up, of course, but the dilator will have you shitting in no time. We've looked at the stats, and the amount of saved time in a lifetime pays for itself. You could basically live 2 lives with the amount of time you save from that dilating asshole. So instead of going into the bathroom like a savage, like a fucking animal that you are, okay, get these asshole dilator rings, place them right on your asshole, have your asshole open up when you want it, on your terms, for faster, more efficient shits. All right, instead of going there basically like a fucking silverback gorilla, just sitting there and just squeezing, holding on to everything, just holding on and pushing and pulling, and it's not coming. I should have had a little bit of fiber. I know you eat too much fiber, and then now you got the runs. It's just messy business, which it's again 2024. We are heading into 2025 in no time. This is the future, ladies and gentlemen. No more leaving it up to chance. No more leaving it up to just biology. When people were not able to get babies from just, doing it missionary style, when people had barren land in their vag and their ovaries, and people had bad sperm, scientists came together and said, you know what? We're going to make test tube babies. And you know what people said in the beginning? Oh, you're doing the devil's work, man. They said that initially, but then we said no to superstition. Then we said, hey, Despite the fact that having babies, doing the normal regular sex, that's fine, but some people might have issues like reproductive issues, and they might still want babies too. So this is very much the same thing, except it has nothing to do with babies or enhancing the human experience in terms of, passing on your genes, living to, give birth to your offspring and watch them grow before you watch other members of your family come out of you and your spouse, essentially, or your lover if you're not married, whatever. I'm not judging, I don't care. But essentially have the chance to have a human come out of your body and watch it grow, and then it's young, and then you're old, and then it gets old, and then you get older, and then they're tiny, and then you're big, and then at one point they become big, and then you start getting to you would not have that chance if people didn't take the time to go in some sort of a scientific laboratory and fucking play around with cells under a microscope. And this is what we just did together is pretty much the same thing, except it's way better. Instead of a baby that'll cost you millions of dollars through a lifetime, it'll just give you the benefit of knowing you have control over your shits. More efficient shits 2025 and onward and forward. Henceforth, we took better shits because of the asshole dilator. This podcast is brought to you by the asshole dilator. I made the asshole dilator, so I brought it to you. You're welcome. No, I want to sit down and just, not know when I'm going to take a shit in the bathroom 15 minutes. What are you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, of course, let's get into it. Shalom Shabbat. Of course, we're going to get into it. You know what's been going on in and around the world? You know what kind of crazy business we're kind of dealing with? Everybody's just kind of like edging. Everybody's on, maybe some are, maybe some aren't. Maybe deep down inside, maybe some are. Maybe like on the surface, maybe some are, maybe some aren't. But nonetheless, we do hear about it. We know what's going on, sort of. We try our best. But then there are times that calls for a man or a woman to step up. And then that's one of those times, but maybe now. What am I talking about? Now is not the time to sit around and decide what is black, what is white. Now is not the time to say what is wrong and what is right. No, wait. Scrap that. Now is not the time to be using hesitation to make decisions. Now is the time to make really quick decisions, fast-paced decisions, fast-paced decisions, really quick decisions, swift decisions, swift and precise. This is the time that we're in right now. You got some activities that are going on in and around the world. Some terrorisms might be going on. And some dirty terrorisms might be happening. Like we might have to bring down some terrorisms together. All doing different parts, but nonetheless, there are dirty terrorisms going down. From the producers of Desert Storm 1, we now bring you Desert Storm 2, two storm deserts. This time it's personal. This time it's more sand in our eyes. This time it's gonna be extra dry. Actually, this time it's probably not gonna be as desert stormy. This time it probably won't be but this time it might just be. If you like Desert Storm 1, well, you're gonna love Desert Storm 2. Do you like choppers? Do you like helicopters? This time, more helicopters, more helicopters. This time, if you like going off there, and if you've got how to distinguish between terrorisms and not terrorisms. I'll tell you what, son. All right? This is not the time to be sitting around and playing with your nuts. This is not the time to be sitting around and rubbing your tits waiting for it to lactate. All right, fella, lady? This is the time to make quick decisions, swift, fast decisions that might have a long-lasting effect on the entire course of humanity. Our targets. Dirty terrorists. Our mission, to get rid of the terrorists. Not to be mistaken with tourists. I don't want anybody going out there harassing tourists. Very distinct. Although they do, more or less, they do cross the boundaries of, coming into your space, doing things, taking photos, eating food from the locale market. It's all good. What I'm trying to say is that we need to stick together. We need to rise up and just nip it in the bud. How? The different people can do different things. If you see a terrorism, say something like, "Hey, there it is." If you're up close and personal with it, just pounce on them, just get on their back and don't let go, and then blow a whistle. Or if you are trained in the ancient arts of the pretzel sticks, put them in a bun, put them in a triangle, put them in a circle, put them in a square, put them in a hexagon. You know what I'm talking about. Trapezoid that shit. Motherfucker, grab their beard and remove the turban. If you remove the turban, they will lose all their powers. They will start to melt. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that it's Desert Storm 2, and we need to act quickly, swiftly, and I don't know what I'm talking about, but I like to say thank you to all the men and women who do know what they're talking about, or at least willing to go out there and do the things that allows the rest of us to do the things that what am I talking about? I don't particularly know. I know there's been missiles going off, man. Missiles have been going off into the Israels, which is no bueno, and we don't negotiate with terrorisms. All right, so we need to ideally, because we are a fun-loving gang, but we are also very much about the, because we're fun-loving and all about the peace, but if somebody fucking interferes with our peace, then it's right there, fucking guns out, buns out, son of a bitch. We will get in their face, and we will, ideally, I'm just, wishful thought things, to have more global peace, and then other stuff too. I say send in this, let's maybe more pagers, maybe some pagers need to go off, some Ayatollah's pagers maybe need to go off. This is what I'm talking about, but then I don't know. These things get messy because this is a messy situation. What we would hope to see, ideally, because you can't just, you can do whatever you want. Of course, you can't do whatever you want. That's the beauty of this. But long-term goal is to not just remove one of the terrorists because they pop back up like it's like a fungus infection. It's like fucking herpes. It's like it's like that. It's like a bad relationship, and then you break up. Or not even a bad one, it's just like a relationship, and then you break, but then you don't delete the number from your, so delete the number and replace it with newer numbers, better numbers. People are different, and to get better, newer numbers. What I'm trying to say is replace, don't just get rid of, but replace the bad habit with a good habit. This is now perhaps the time to, do some, work on the cell phones. The pagers, I believe, should, be one of those. Also, utilize. I would like to see, again, these are difficult conversations, nuanced, very gray shit. But that's where we thrive, in the gray shit. Ideally, I'd like to see as less casualties as possible on the, on the civilian lives. But again, these are murky, tricky topics. What I would say is that fuck Islam, for remove Islam entirely from Iran if you could, in one swift. I don't know how you do that, but I'm just wishful thinking. And then establish long-term goals would be maybe put in put in somebody who is you've selected from that has democratic intentions, like Western views of life and stuff. It's hard, it's tricky, it's not just the bing bang. You don't just, but it also could be isn't it? Because we know like this isn't Desert Storm 1. This isn't just fucking choppers and sand. We've now got fucking pagers and laser precision technology, and maybe hit him with maybe like laser technology. Maybe what about like precision lasers? Take out like specific targets and leave as many civilians unharmed as possible if that could happen. But I don't know. These are difficult situations, but we are all in it together, and I believe that it's times like this that it just makes me realize, man, like it's great to I'm super happy that we've got fucking shout out to the US. It's a beacon of hope, and it's amazing because people I met an elderly gentleman a while ago, maybe about a week or two ago, and we just got into a little conversation. We were just talking about Canada and the US and discussing the things that we like and things. And he mentioned, elderly gentleman, maybe probably around like 70s and 80s, and he said he doesn't like the fact that, in the US there's so many guns, which I didn't want to get into it with with him that, because it's just, it's a run-in, you don't want to, I don't want to, get into a long-ass conversation with some like random elderly gentleman that, is going to be, I don't want to, but from my understanding, it's better to have the guns to be able to, again, a lot of people are like, yeah, if you get rid of all the guns and there are not going to be any school shootings, you're always going to have something. There's no perfect society, but it's always good to have the guns, because then you wouldn't end up with places like, North Korea, Iran, other places that don't have these things, because it does give the populace a fighting chance against a totalitarian, regime. So it's nice to have it, be appreciative of it. If anybody comes ever after your guns, fucking right there, dude, right there in the jaw with the guns. So honestly, as much as we of course all hate school shootings, it's worth it. It's good, like not the school shootings are not, but it's good to have, you will have some, but in like larger grand scheme of things, it's worth it. There are no eggless omelets. That's what we can all agree upon. There are no eggless omelets. There are no, you need some eggs. You need to break a couple of eggs to get the omelets, but the point is, I don't know how this is all gonna unfold. Of course, I, want everybody to get along in terms of just like, but it takes time because, there are radical people out there, that have formed radical regimes throughout some decades, and they do need to be, it needs to be, we need to make some decisions. Some hard decisions need to be, but not also, they're not hard. Like in terms of like, who the immediate targets are, who the, what needs to be done and stuff. And I believe long term, replace them with, again, more like, these are things that are so easy to say, but again, this is why I'm thankful for the men and women who actually, go and do the, participate in the military services, the Navy, the fucking, Air Force, all these men and women who are brave enough to actually put their lives on the line and go out there and do the actual heavy lifting, because those are brave individuals. Shout out to them. And, we thank them. I think we'd it's important to notice these things and be appreciative. And I know I am. So shout out to the forces. Shout out to all the men and women out there holding it down, doing the, hard fucking work out there that it takes for all of us to go around and do the things that we do. Because I certainly wouldn't be able to come sit here and talk to you about loose titties and fast cocks if it weren't for them. Yeah, that's right. So remember, Operation Kick-Ass is in full motion, and we're going in deep. It's gonna be tight. But after a little bit of pain, good things. They say after the rain, there's a rainbow, uniting beautiful people together. Soon we can have beautiful Jewish people with beautiful Persian people in the Middle East, helping the Middle East kind of gain a little bit more of a peaceful fucking situation, so that people aren't fucking like going at it. And then of course, Palestinians too, like let's, one step at a time. But you need to get what I'm trying to say is that it's great that you are taking out the proxies, but the head of the dragon needs to be chopped off in a swift, quick motion. Removal of the head of the dragon. It's an old wrinkly dragon too. And he's no dragon, he's more like a little fucking lizard. Just a little mean fucking just a racist, xenophobic son of a bitch. You need to remove the head of the octopus because the octopus's tentacles, they grow back, but if you remove the head of the octopus, then it's really easy for other things to emerge. And again, it won't be easy, it won't be overnight. These are just things but again, it's extremely important that we all take a look at the nuance of things. This is not a place of just like black and white, just like good versus evil. There's a lot of things that we all, collectively, but it's tricky business. There's legitimate like evil out there in the world, and like you need to now is the time to zoom in to focus on the fucking target and just fucking go at it because we're already there and things are rotating. And again, thank you to all the brave men and women, but luckily we have fucking technology on our side, I think. There. Give them a monarchy, give them a democracy, and then let them fucking work it out from there. But again, I'm all the way over here. It doesn't even fucking concern me. I get to do me, and my life I'm very grateful for the things that I have, and it's, things that need to be taken care of on the agenda that might want to be, fucking do the things that we do together when, we come together, and it's fucking, we're doing great things together, little by little, one tiny step at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, other things that have been happening and ongoing, I've been hearing there's more coming out with the Diddy situation. There's more allegations, like 120 women apparently, or men and women, I don't know, 120 individuals. So many people that are coming out and saying stuff. 120 people oh man, that's so many people. But, and apparently there's over 200 people or 200, there's so many people. There's just so many people involved with it, and it makes sense. To a certain degree, it makes sense. 20, 30 years of this guy being fucking the party guy. One of the guys that was not the talent himself, but fucking in there, getting, he rallied, he got the people going. And I remember not having heard of any of this stuff prior when I was a young man. He looked like a good time, although I wasn't a fan of the music, but I did like it when I was a young man. I'm talking, again, teenage years. I remember specifically one of those memories that gets etched into your brain. It was probably the MTV Music Awards. Maybe I've said this story once before. It was Diddy, shoulder to shoulder, maybe arm around Ashton Kutcher's neck. They were just it was MTV Awards or something. And at that time, this beautiful lesbian group from Russia, if I'm not mistaken, all the things she said, right in my head, right, they're not gonna get us, something along those lines. I don't remember the lyrics. It's been a long time, but I remember watching these beautiful lesbians and then Diddy and Ashton just fucking popping champagne. Everybody was having fun, and I'm like, man, I want to be a lesbian. That's what I said to myself, because it was the closest thing that I could. Because I'm like, they look like they're having a lot of fun, these lesbians. As a young man, I said that. I'm like, if I, because I want lesbians. Give me lesbians. I wanted that, and it touched me somewhere in here. Or probably further down, probably it touched me. Didn't really physically touch. I touched myself. I got turned on as a young man. I got turned on. I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably excused myself to the bathroom. Again, this was a time when I was living with family. I was gonna go take a long shower. This MTV Music Award is really just making me think about stuff. And at that time, I thought, what a wonderful, beautiful fella. Bringing in, beautiful people together, and they're partying, and they're not gonna get us and tits. And it was raining, and they were wet, and it was every young man's fantasy was coming alive. Really, it's beautiful. I don't know what happened to those chicks, to be honest with you. I hope they're doing well. I hope they're still in the music industry. I hope nobody got them, because they're not gonna get. I hope they're now older lesbians with many cats. And maybe a few adopted babies from Southeast Asia. Who knows? The point is, or maybe they are now, maybe it was all an act. Maybe there weren't even lesbians. Now that I'm a little bit old, maybe it was just for the show. Maybe they don't even like each other. Maybe they're just put together because they're just oh, look at you two singers who are lesbians. You're we're not lesbians, but they're if you're lesbians, it'll really make it work. Sell a lot of records if you're lesbians. So they did. Maybe they did. Maybe they were real lesbians, though I wasn't there. I don't know. I think they kissed. I think they kissed, like kind of like legitimized it in your mind as a kid. You're like, yes, yes, lesbians. The point is that video I was fine with because I had no idea. It was a young man. I'm like, everybody's having a good time. It's fantastic. But now you hear all these stories and story after story is emerging. And now I'm just like thinking, man, 20, 30 years of partying and like coordinating parties. So many people that he apparently secretly taped. He got secret tapes, the Diddy tapes. That's one of the biggest things right now. That I'm just like, well, how many celebrities, high profile people, diplomats, politicians, movie stars, singers, songwriters, producers, fancy schmancy lawyers, other people you might have not even heard of, or maybe people that you've heard of. There's apparently a ton of tape, a ton of compromising tape, which I'm not a fan of tape on people for them to be compromised or anything, but I'm a curious little fellow like you are out there, and I'm just wondering how many people, and a lot of it might just be like people partying, and a lot of it might just be people partying. I mean, not all of it is, but some of, because regularly people do party, and of course you have more power, more resources, more opportunities. You party more, you party harder. That's the way it goes. Because you've been there, we've all been there. We've thrown parties. Everybody's thrown a party. Again, more resources, more parties, more lavish parties, more dirty. You know what I mean? But the point is, I am curious to know how many celebrities / politicians and diplomats and high profile people are on those tapes, and what kind of tapes are they? What kind of activities are going on? It could be as innocent as we're just letting loose. It could be just as innocent as we're just letting loose. Adults, just whatever. It could, the worst of it for some people could just be doing a line of coke or two and maybe unbuttoning a couple of buttons they might have otherwise not unbuttoned. It might be that, and they might feel like that's compromising, but it's not. But then there might be some that are maybe just a little bit more than that. Maybe not the coke, or maybe a little bit of coke, maybe a little bit of wearing things you'd normally not wear outside in the public, or things that, or maybe you might be maybe some people might be. And not to, because I'm a fan of it all. If that's you, that's you. I don't care. I have no judgment on it. If a grown adult male wants to dress as a woman, by all means, I have no issues with that. If a female wants to put on a mustache, grown, full blown, ripe female mustache, fake, I don't care. There's nothing to me. I don't care. You're free to do that. But maybe you're like, I like certain things to be just like private, and those are fun. The rest of it is the murky business is, of course, the underage and the trafficking and the the sextortion. Like if somebody was doing gay stuff behind the scene rather than in front of the scenes, they're not known for their gay stuff, that might be compromising. And there's nothing wrong with the gays. Again, if you're like of age, consenting, those are all great. But outside of the criminal activity, there is of course, those people should be, but there's just probably a lot of tape to go through. The feds are probably just like sitting down, watching hours of tape, and the public is curious too. I'm just thinking there are a lot of moist assholes right now in Hollywood, and again, higher echelon parts of society. You don't want to talk to people who intermingled with, powerful people, with, a lot of powerful assholes that are moist right now. The kind of moisture your asshole gets when you're like a little bit nervous about a situation. The nerves are getting at you a little bit, The assholes a little bit. I get that all the time myself. Whenever, I'm about to, go out there, and if it's a special day that, I get nervous, you get nervous, everybody gets nervous, but this is a type of nervousness that's like, oh man, perpetual, chronic, moist asshole syndrome. That kind of, so check the assholes and, just dab a little bit, just maybe if you want to find the culprits, maybe see who's dripping from the bum a little bit, who's getting up from a seat and leaving a stain. They've got something, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of moist assholes is all I'm saying, dude. Ladies and gentlemen. So many parties. 20, 30 years of party, that's a lot of tape. But which also sucks in a sense. Like, it's intriguing. Of course, we talk about it, and there's more of this stuff that'll probably keep on coming out. It's been a part of history, throughout history, people doing like fuck shit that they're not supposed to, like real fuck shit that they're not supposed to. But there is a little bit part of me that does like overall like it does suck that there is no, and I've never lived through this, like you hear about it, though you hear like, probably around like the 80s and prior was the time where you could go out there and gather with people and do stuff, not the fuck shit stuff, but like, just let loose a little bit and not worry about like, oh, is there going to be, everybody's fucking got a camera on them now, which to a certain degree, again, it's that compromise of, safety, security versus privacy. You can't just fucking let loose. But that's why we let them loose, baby. That's why these tits are out here fucking just right in your face, so that in case they catch the tits, it's always on fucking brand. You know what I'm talking about? So live your life the way you normally would, but the part of me does think, man, I never experienced the fact that we never, like, it would have been nice to know what it feels like to not be on, even in my dream, as I'm dreaming, I'm like, did anybody catch that alien? Are there cameras in my dream? I'm going, are there cameras that may have captured? You know what? That consciousness would not have existed in the 80s or prior. It would have been like, did you see that? If some people said yes, great, prove it. We can't. We know no cameras. Or are there any CCTVs? No, there aren't. But now everything's on CCTV. So watch these tits right here, son. The point is, I never experienced that freedom to ascend, and man, the current generation will never ever experience that. At least like I'm still a part of I grew up with dumb phones. I got a dumb cell phone when I was a kid to, have my parents come pick me up from soccer practice. I know the kids these days, everything's fucking feel terrible because the mistakes you make as a young man or a woman. Everything, just, so, but we are learning, everything's getting better. Things are good. Making strides one step at a time. It's Desert Storm 2, brought to you by sand. More sand. Even more flip-flops and sand. Did you like a bucket of sand? Well, here's even more sand. Yeah, if you're like, how do I distinguish? It's the ones that look like, the ones that look like, the easiest, the ones that look like, the ones that look like old, like, wizards, those ones, bad guys. Really easy, actually. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, the point is that there's so many things happening, and recently we just had something happen that was beautiful, mostly beautiful. I believe it was in the East Coast, New York, New Jersey, New York, New York, New York, New York, Newark, New York, New York, New Jersey, and the East Coast, all the way from the East Coast to the West Coast, there was a strike. I believe started on Tuesday, but it just concluded last night, I think. Last night being Thursday. And I had to keep a tap on it because I didn't know, if I were to, because I didn't know how to, and then it came to a conclusion. I didn't know how long it was going to go. They said the dock workers went on strike, and they had concerns that are very similar to your concerns and my concerns. They were concerned about two things, or maybe other things as well, but two major things. The dock workers, the people who are working at the ports, just beautiful men and women in, wife beaters, cigarettes, and ports, and that lifestyle. Men and women who like to get their hands dirty and earn a living and provide for their families, and maybe go sit on top of a high rise that's almost being built by the port, by the dock. Maybe there's some steel beams. Yeah, they're resting on steel beams, and they're opening up their metal lunch boxes, and they are wearing fucking wife beaters, and they're on steel beams, and they're really up there, and as the men open up their their metal lunch boxes, they take a bite out of their ham and cheese sandwich that their wife made at home, and they take out pictures, black and white pictures of their wives, and as they're smoking on these steel beams high up in the sky, right above the dock, right above the port, they show each other pictures of their wives and babies, and it reminds them of why they go and do the things that they do. We smoke and we bring things in and we take things out because we like to provide for our families. Real men. Just one drag inhaled an entire cigarette. Real fucking men. So they went on strike. Of course, this is in the 20s or 30s, so everything is not in black and white. It's colored now. They are still some wearing the wife beats, because I get it. It's fucking, it's hard work out there, and you're sweating like a person would sweat if they were to have sex in a hot sauna. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that they went on strike, and they went on strike hard. 45,000 bodies from coast to coast, if I'm not mistaken. I could also be mistaken, because I, only limited amount of time and one guy here. Brought to you by Desert Storm 2. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, 45,000 men and women, mostly men I think, but some women I'm sure too, went out there on strike, and they say, we want more wages, sister, higher wages. We want wages who are fucking smoking crack. That's how high we want our wages to be. We want wages that are stoned to the gills. We want high wages. They said that, and we're walking out and nothing's getting in and nothing's getting out. We will shut it down because we're a union, and we're doing some collective bargaining, and we're the Teamsters, I think. Not quite sure what Teamsters are. I think they're I think that's like another term for unions. I'm not quite sure, to be honest with you. That one I've not looked into, but it doesn't matter. Let's just pretend like we know what it is. Unions. Let's just stick with the union got together. The union is a collective of workers. When the worker is individually on his own, he could go to the boss and be like, "Can I have some more porridge, sir, please?" And the boss will smack you in your face and get out of here and kick you. Look, I'm paying you right now, mister. Get out there and quit whining, because there's 10,000 others just like you that I could replace you with. Thank your lucky stars you're getting the amount of porridge you're getting it right now. You get on the ground, scoop up the porridge off the pavement and shove it in your mouth, and you might run along and still be like, okay, at least I've got a job. But that's just, that's individual bargaining. But you know what they say? If there's collective bargaining, there's more power in it, I think. Because there's easily you could go up individually and say, could I get more porridge? But if it echoes, if there's like, can I get some more porridge, more porridge, please. Maybe eliminate the please, because now we're in a bargaining position. More porridge now, more. And it echoes, and there's like 10,000 of you behind you or in front of you, or like surround. I don't know where you are in this mob, okay? You might be in the front. You might be way back you might be like, there might be a mob that's doing a mosh pit colliding with a fucking collective bargaining stage. Workers' rights. So you get there, you're like, can I have some more porridge? Again, to a lot of echoes of the porridge. And eventually they realize there's so many of you, because if one person quit the job, get out of here, you bum. That's one bum. But if there's a lot of people, there's many people out there, if they all stick together, then their voices will be heard. Especially when you got a boss, a union boss, who's willing to stand up for you and your rights, and the rights of the people to say no to low, unsurvivable wages who are below the standard of living because of the inflation and all that shit. We need good wages. Down and no automation, no to technology, no more technology. We don't want any technology. They said that, which is it halted. The strike is now off. I believe they got the higher wages, I think, to a certain degree that they want, but they'll go back to the renegotiating of the terms and the conditions later down in January, if I'm not mistaken. These are good things. The automation aspect of it is, again, things that we need to consider long term, because as much as we do, of course, it comes out of a place of like, you don't want people out of work. You don't want people to be just like not able to earn a living. But at the same time, technology moves way faster than people. Like we do complain about certain things, but there are certain things that we all use that make our lives easier. It's like the time the automobile came around. You don't take it to the horse and cart fella to get it fixed, and all of a sudden, like, this horse and cart fella is like, oh, this piece of technology, I don't know how to fix it because it's brand new. Why don't you go get a horse and a cart so I can fix it for you? And I don't know where I was going with that one, but the point is, ladies and gentlemen, no one's going anywhere with that one. No. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that the technology is good. We've got to learn to use it and replace old stuff with the new stuff, but we got to come up with new work, new ways of twerking, because you can't just be twerking the way you were twerking in the early 2000s or in the 90s or even the 70s or 60s or 50s, baby. Those days of twerking are gone. New forms of twerking are in. Now, I don't know what those new forms of twerking are, to be honest with you. I think more people would probably get into like entrepreneurship in the future and just like doing things. I think the future is more empowering to the individual collectively, but to the individual as well. Like more people will have the chance to go out there, take on personal endeavors, whether it be in business, arts, sports, these things, you know, things that people are leaning towards probably when they're younger, but most likely talked out of because of realistic outlooks on life. You're never gonna be a ballet dancer, Johnny. Or he might be, You fucking don't know, do you? Johnny's given a nice little tutu and the proper, you know, ballet shoes. You'll never know, would you? But the point is, ladies and gentlemen, that it was beautiful because collective bargaining came together and collected. But at the same rate, as the story developed furthermore, I did briefly also learn that the union boss is apparently you know, fairly well off compared to the other rest of the union members, which again taught me something about unions. And the best part of the union apparently is being the boss of the union, because you get, you know, $900,000 or like $700,000 salary compared to the average union worker who might get like 70 or 80 after taxes, and you have yachts and those are great. And that's the thing. It's we shouldn't be. I want everybody in the union to have access to millions of dollars per year / yachts and boats. Everybody should be living that life. All right, like have the opportunity to work there. I want everyone to get a large piece of the pie, and there's so much pie. So much pie. All around us, just pie. Pie in the sky. There's so many things we could be getting. You know, gold is just floating in outer space. We just got to figure a way to get it down here. There's gold, lithium, fucking plutonium, everything. Everything you want is here in nature. But like it's there. We'll get it. We need retractors. One step at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, where can you find these videos? On Instagram, follow me there, subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out patreon.com/RobSadri. Have yourselves a wonderful week. I'll be here again next week. Peace.